Better, better, Zossimov shouted to them cheerfully as they entered. He'd arrived some 10 minutes earlier and was sitting at the same end of the couch as the day before. Raskolnikov was sitting at the opposite end, all dressed up and even thoroughly scrubbed and combed, for the first time in a very long while. The room filled up at once, but Natasya still managed to follow the visitors in and started listening. Raskolnikov really was almost better, especially when compared to the previous day, but he was very pale, distracted, and sullen. He might have been taken for a man who'd been wounded or was in acute physical pain. His brows were knitted, his lips clenched, his eyes swollen. He spoke little and unwillingly, as though he were forcing himself or discharging a duty, and every now and again his gestures betrayed a certain anxiety. The only thing lacking was a sling on his arm or gauze round his finger to complete his resemblance to a man with an excruciating abscess, or an injured hand or something of that kind. Still, even this pale and sullen face seemed to light up momentarily when his mother and sister walked in, though this merely lent to his features a greater intensity of torment, in place of the anguished distraction of before. The light faded quickly, but the torment remained, and Zossimov, observing and studying his patient with all the youthful enthusiasm of a doctor who has only just begun to practice, was surprised to see him react to his family's arrival, not with joy, but with a kind of grim, hidden resolve to endure an hour or two of torture that could be put off no longer. Later, he noticed how almost every word in the ensuing conversation seemed to touch a nerve in his patient or irritate a wound, but at the same time he was amazed by his self-control, by the newfound ability of yesterday's monomaniac to conceal his feelings, when only the day before the slightest word had been enough to drive him to the edge of fury. "Yes, I can see myself I'm almost better," said Raskolnikov, kissing his mother and sister warmly, which instantly made Pulcheria Alexandrovna beam. "And that's not the me of yesterday speaking," he added, turning to Razumikin and offering him a friendly handshake. "I've been quite amazed by him today, I must say," Zossimov began, greatly relieved by their arrival. Keeping up a conversation with his patient for a whole 10 minutes had proved beyond him. "In 3 or 4 days' time, if he keeps on like this, he'll be just as he was before. I mean, just as he was a month ago, or 2, or perhaps even 3. After all, this didn't just begin now. It's been brewing for a while, eh? Perhaps you'll admit now that you were to blame too?" he added with a wary smile, as if still... "Get down! Get down! Get down! Get down! Into bed. It's night time and she's barking at foxes." Where was I? "You shush. Don't you argue with me. Perhaps you will admit that you were to blame too?" he added with a wary smile, as if still afraid of irritating him in some way. "Quite possibly," Raskolnikov answered coldly. "The reason I say that," Zossimov continued, warming to his theme, "is that your full recovery now depends mainly and solely on you. Now that you are capable of proper conversation, I should like to impress upon you how essential it is for you to eliminate the primary and, as it were, deep-rooted causes that helped bring about your illness. Only then will you be cured, while the alternative may be even worse. I don't know what these primary causes are, but you should. You're an intelligent man, after all, and you must have studied your own symptoms. It seems to me that the onset of your condition coincided, at least in part, with your leaving university. You need to keep yourself occupied, which is why work and a clearly defined aim could, it seems to me, help you greatly." Yes, how right you are. I'll resume my studies just as soon as I can, and then everything will be just dandy." Zossimov, who had delivered these pearls of wisdom partly to impress the ladies, was, of course, rather taken aback when, after finishing his speech and glancing at his listener, he noticed a look of unmistakable derision on his face. But it lasted no more than an instant. Pulcheria Alexandrovna immediately set about thanking Zossimov, especially for his visit to their rooms the night before. "You mean he was with you last night too?" asked Raskolnikov, as if in alarm. "So you didn't get any sleep after the journey either?" "Oh, Roger, that was all over by 2. Even at home, Dunya and I never went to bed before 2. "I don't know how to thank him either," Raskolnikov went on, frowning and staring at the floor. "Setting aside the question of money, and do forgive me for mentioning it," he remarked to Zossimov, "I just can't imagine what I've done to deserve such special attention from you. I simply don't understand it, and actually I find it rather difficult for that same reason. I'm being frank with you." "Now don't get too worked up," said Zossimov with a forced laugh. "Just imagine that you're my first patient and, well, anyone who's just started practicing loves his first cases like his own children. Some almost fall in love with them. As for me, I'm hardly overrun with patients. And I haven't even mentioned him," added Raskolnikov, pointing to Razumikin. "He's had nothing from me except insults and bother. Complete drivel." "Feeling sentimental, are we?" Razumikin shouted. He would have seen, had he been a little more perceptive, that there was nothing sentimental about Raskolnikov's mood. If anything, just the opposite. But Avdotya Romanovna had noticed. Her anxious gaze never left her brother. "I daren't even mention you, Mamma," he went on, as though he'd memorized these lines in the morning. "Only today could I begin to understand what you must have been through here yesterday, waiting for me to return. He's putting on an act, isn't he?" Having said this, he suddenly stretched out a hand to his sister with a wordless smile. But this time, real, unfeigned emotion could be glimpsed in his smile. Dunya immediately grabbed the hand extended toward her and squeezed it tight, gladdened and grateful. It was the first time he'd spoken to her since yesterday's disagreement. His mother's face lit up with ecstatic happiness at the sight of this definitive, silent reconciliation between brother and sister. "And that's why I love him," whispered Razumikin, exaggerating as always, and turning round energetically in his chair. "He has all these sudden gusts. And how well he carries it all off," Pulcheria Alexandrovna thought to herself. "What noble impulses he has, and how simply, how tactfully he put an end to yesterday's misunderstanding with his sister, merely by stretching out a hand and looking at her nicely. And what beautiful eyes he has, what a beautiful face in general. Oh, God, you don't see it in your son, do you? He's even better looking than Dunica, but good grief, just look at the state of his suit. Even Vasya, the errand boy in Afanasy Ivanovich's shop, is better dressed than he is. If only I could run over to him and hug him and cry. But I'm afraid, dear God, there's something about him. Even when he's tender, I'm afraid. What on earth am I afraid of?" "Oh, Roger," she said suddenly, hurrying to reply to his comment, "you wouldn't believe how miserable Dunica and I were yesterday. Now it's all over and we're all happy again. There is somebody at my door wanting to come in, and I believe it is a little Gaius. One moment." "Hello, baby boy. What you doing? Come in." "It is Gaius. What am I doing? Now it's all over and we're all happy again, I can tell you more. Just imagine, we were rushing over here to embrace you, almost straight off the train, and this woman, here she is. Hello, Natasya. She suddenly told us that you'd been in bed, raving deliriously, and that you'd just given your doctor the slip and gone out, still delirious, and people had run off to look for you. Can you imagine the state we were in? I couldn't help thinking of the tragic death of Lieutenant Potanchikov, an acquaintance of ours, a friend of your father's. You won't remember him, Roger. He was delirious too, and ran off just like you did and fell down the well in the yard. He wasn't pulled out till the next day. And, of course, that wasn't the worst we imagined. We were about to rush off to look for Pyotr Petrovich. Maybe he could do something. But we were alone here, quite alone, she went on plaintively, then suddenly cut herself short, remembering that it wasn't yet safe to bring up Pyotr Petrovich. Despite the fact that everyone was already entirely happy again. Yes, all very vexing, of course, Raskolnikov mumbled in reply, but with such a distracted, almost inattentive air that Dunica looked at him in astonishment. What was the other thing? He continued, trying hard to remember. Oh, yes. Please, Mama, and you, Dunica, please don't think that I didn't want to come to you first today, and was just waiting for you here. Whatever next, Roger? Cried Pulcheria Alexandrovna, also surprised. Why is he replying like this? From a sense of duty, Dunica wondered. Making peace, asking forgiveness, as if he were going through the motions, or had learned it all by rote. I'd just woken up and was all ready to go, but my clothes kept me back. I forgot yesterday to tell her, Natasha, to wash up that blood. I've only just managed to get dressed now. Blood? What blood? Panicked Pulcheria Alexandrovna. It's nothing, don't worry. There was blood because yesterday, when I was knocking about, slightly delirious, I came across a man who'd been run over and trampled, a civil servant. Delirious? But you remember everything, Razumikin broke in. That's true, Raskolnikov replied, with unusual solicitude. I remember everything down to the very last detail, but try asking me why I did this or that, went here or there, said this or that, I'd be hard put to tell you. An all too familiar phenomenon. Do, Zosimov intervened. A deed can be carried out in a consummate, highly resourceful fashion, but the subject's control over his actions, the basis of his actions, is disturbed and depends on various morbid impressions, as if he were dreaming. Well, it's probably no bad thing that he thinks me half-mad, thought Raskolnikov. But you could probably say exactly the same about the healthy, observed Dunica, looking anxiously at Zosimov. A quite accurate observation, the latter replied. In this sense, all of us are, often enough, pretty much crazy, with the one small distinction that the sick are that little bit crazier. One must draw a line. It's true, though, that there's almost no such thing as a well-balanced person. You might find 1 in 100, or 1 in several 100,000, and even then only a fairly weak specimen. At the word crazy, which Zosimov, getting carried away by his favourite topic, had carelessly let slip, everyone frowned. Can you not? You're not going straight back out. You've come in for a bit and you're staying in. Blah, blah, blah. Raskolnikov sat there as if he hadn't noticed, deep in thought, and with a strange smile on his pale lips. He was still trying to work something out. Well, what about the man who got trampled? I interrupted you, shouted Razumikin in a hurry. What? Said Raskolnikov, as if waking up. Waiting? Oh, yeah, mother. What? Said Raskolnikov, as if waking up. Oh, yes. Well, I stained myself with blood when I helped carry him into the apartment. By the way, Mama, I did one unforgivable thing yesterday. I really must have been out of my mind. Yesterday I gave away all the money you sent to me, to his wife, for the funeral. She's a widow now, consumptive, a pitiful woman, 3 little orphans, all hungry, nothing in the house, and another daughter as well. You might have done the same if you'd seen, though I had no right at all, I admit, especially knowing how you got this money in the first place. To help. One must first have the right to help, otherwise it's... Robyn, there's French! My French advisor is on her way. You know, I did actually study French, but I have forgotten everything.
Guys, why are you sat outside my room? Say hi to Ethan.
Hi, Ethan. Everybody on the internet, say hi to Ethan.
What?
Fuck, I've lost it. Here it is.
You hold my boyfriend.
I'm holding your boyfriend.
Crever chien si vous n'êtes pas content.
Which means?
I don't know what crever means. Chien is dogs if you aren't happy.
Something about dogs if you aren't happy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Crever chien.
Right, I'm going to read the sentence. You're going to read the thing.
Yeah.
Okay. To help, one must first have the right to help. Otherwise, it's...
Crever chien si vous...
bollocks. To help, one must first have the right to help. Otherwise, it's...
Crever chien si vous n'êtes pas content.
He laughed. Isn't that right, Dunya? Is it? No, it's not, Dunya replied firmly. Ha! Now you, too, with your own intentions, he muttered with a mocking smile, looking at her almost with hatred. I should have expected that. Well, I suppose it's commendable, and at some point you'll reach a mark, stop there, and you'll be miserable. Step over it, and you might be more miserable still. But anyway, how stupid this is, he added, annoyed that he'd let himself get carried away. All I wanted to say, Mama, is that I'm asking your forgiveness, he concluded tersely and abruptly. That'll do, Roger. I'm sure that everything you do is quite wonderful. Oh, for fuck's sake, woman, said his gladdened mother. What? What the fuck? Okay, well, he is being a bit weird. Drop dead dogs if you aren't satisfied. That's what that means. Don't be so sure, he replied, twisting his mouth into a smile. Silence followed. There was something strained about the whole conversation. The silence, the reconciliation, the forgiveness, and everyone could feel it. Maybe they really are afraid of me, Raskolnikov thought to himself, with a mistrustful glance at his mother and sister. And indeed, the longer Pulcheria Alexandrovna was silent, the more timid she became. I seemed to love them so much from a distance, flashed through his mind. You know, Roger, Marfa Petrovna has died, Pulcheria Alexandrovna suddenly ventured. Who's Marfa Petrovna? Good grief. You know, Marfa Petrovna. Oh, Svidrigailov. I'm actually impressed I got that again. You know, Marfa Petrovna, Svidrigailov. How many times have I written to you about her? Ah, yes, I remember. So she's died, has she? Has she really? He asked, as if suddenly rousing himself. Of what? Just like that. Can you imagine? Pulcheria Alexandrovna rattled on, encouraged by his curiosity. And just after I sent off that letter to you on the very same day, the cause of her death seems to have been that dreadful man. Can you imagine? He gave her an awful beating by all accounts. What, her husband? Oh my God. Was that really how they lived? He asked, turning to his sister. No, quite the opposite. He was always very patient with her, even courteous. In fact, he was probably much too indulgent. For 7 years running, his patience must have suddenly snapped. He can hardly be that dreadful, then, if he managed to grin and bear it for 7 years. You seem to be standing up for him, Dunica. No, he's dreadful. I can't imagine anyone more dreadful, Dunya replied, almost with a shudder. She frowned and became pensive. It happened at their place in the morning, Pulcheria Alexandrovna hurried on. Afterwards, she immediately had the horses harnessed so that she could go into town straight after lunch, because she would always go into town on such occasions. She had a very hearty appetite that day, by all accounts. After being beaten? Well, she'd always had this habit, and as soon as she'd eaten, so as not to be late setting off, she immediately went off to the bathing hut. You see, water was a kind of cure for her. They'd got a cold spring there, and she'd bathe in it every day, and just as soon as she got in, a stroke. Now there's a surprise, said Zossimov. Did he beat her badly then? What difference does it make? Answered Dunya. A fine topic for conversation, Mamma, I must say. Raskolnikov suddenly snapped, as if without meaning to. But, my dear, I didn't know what else to talk about, Pulcheria Alexandrovna blurted out. Are you all scared of me? Is that it? He asked with a twisted grin. Yes, it's true, said Dunya, fixing her brother with a stern look. Coming up the stairs, Mamma even crossed herself from fear. His face twisted, as if from a spasm. Oh, really, Dunya? Please don't get angry, Roger. Dunya, did you have to? Pulcheria Alexandrovna began in embarrassment. I won't deny that I spent the entire train journey dreaming about seeing you again, about all the things we would have to tell each other. And I felt so happy I barely noticed the journey. But what am I saying? I'm happy now too. You shouldn't have, Dunya. Just seeing you, Roger, is enough to make me happy. Oh, she's got her favourite, then. That'll do, Mamma, he mumbled in embarrassment, squeezing her hand without looking at her. We'll have plenty of time to talk. Saying this, he suddenly became troubled and pale. Once again, a dreadful, recent sensation touched his soul with a deathly chill. Once again, it suddenly became crystal clear to him that he'd just told a dreadful lie. That not only would he never have plenty of time to talk, but that now it had become impossible for him to talk about anything with anyone ever again. The effect produced on him by this excruciating thought was so powerful that, for a moment, he fell into a kind of trance, got to his feet and, without a glance in anyone's direction, made for the door. Now what? Shouted Razumikin, grabbing him by the arm. He sat down again and began looking around without speaking. Gaius! They were all staring at him in bewilderment. What on earth's the matter with you all? He suddenly cried, quite out of the blue. Say something. We can't just sit here. Well, speak. Let's have a conversation, seeing as we've all got together. Anything. Thank goodness for that. For a moment I thought he was back to how he was yesterday, said Pulcheria Alexandrovna, crossing herself. What is it, Roger? Asked Avdotya Romanovna, mistrustfully. Oh, nothing. I just remembered something, he replied, and suddenly burst out with laughter. Well, nothing wrong with that. I was also beginning to think, muttered Zossimov, getting up from the couch. Time for me to be off, though I might drop by again later if I find you in. He bowed and left. Hello, Gaius. Gaius, don't be a dumbass. You're going to end up hurting your paws, and I can't afford to take you to the vet. Your sister's just cost me a lot of money. Right, what? What a splendid man, remarked Pulcheria Alexandrovna. Yes, a splendid man, first-rate, educated, intelligent, Raskolnikov suddenly began to say at surprising speed and with unusual gusto. Can't remember where it was I met him before I fell sick. Pretty sure I did meet him somewhere. And he's all right too, he added, nodding towards Razumikin. How do you like him, Dunya? He asked her, and suddenly, for no apparent reason, burst out laughing. Very much, replied Dunya. Oh, you swine, said a terribly embarrassed, bright red Razumikin, getting up from his chair. Pulcheria Alexandrovna half smiled, and Raskolnikov roared with laughter. Where are you off to? I have to... No, you don't. Stay where you are. Zosimov's left, so you have to go too? Don't go. What time is it? Is it 12 yet? What a lovely watch you have, Dunya. Now, why have you all gone quiet again? Why is it always me doing the talking? It's a present from Marfa Petrovna, replied Dunya. An extremely expensive one, added Pulcheria Alexandrovna. I see. Look at the size of it. More like a man's watch. I like this kind, said Dunya. So it's not from the fiancé, thought Razumikin, rejoicing. There was me thinking Lucian gave it to you, remarked Raskolnikov. No, Donica hasn't received any gifts from him yet. I see. And do you remember, Mamma, when I was in love and wanted to get married? He suddenly said, looking at his mother, who was struck by the sudden change of subject in the tone with which he broached it. Oh, yes, my dear, of course I do. Pulcheria Alexandrovna exchanged glances with Donica and Razumikin. Yes, but what should I tell you? I don't even remember very much about it. She was always poorly, he went on, suddenly looking thoughtful again and staring at the floor. Such a sickly young girl. Liked giving alms, always dreaming of the nunnery. And when she started telling me about it once, she was in floods of tears. Yes, I remember that. I remember it well. She was ugly enough. Heaven knows why I became so fond of her. Because she was always ill, I suppose. If she'd been lame as well, or a hunchback, I suppose I'd have loved her even more. He smiled pensively. The spring must have gone to my head. No, it wasn't that, said Donica with feeling. He looked at his sister closely, intently, but he didn't catch the words, or else he didn't understand them. Then, deep in thought, he got up, went over to his mother, kissed her, returned to his place and sat down. You still love her now? Said Pulcheria Alexandrovna, touched. Her? Now? Oh, I see, you mean her. No, that's a world away now, and so long ago. Actually, everything seems to be happening somewhere else. Again, this seems to be dissociation. He looked at them attentively. Take you, for example. It's as if I were looking at you from a distance of 1,000 miles. That is dissociation. But what the devil are we talking about, and why all these questions? He snapped, then fell silent, biting his nails and sinking into thought once more. What a horrid room you have, Roger. Just like a coffin, said Pulcheria Alexandrovna suddenly, breaking the awkward silence. I'm sure that's half the reason you become such a melancholic. The room, he replied distractedly. Yes, the room had a lot to do with it. That's occurred to me too. But if you only knew, Mamma, what a strange thing you've just said, he said suddenly, with a peculiar grin. A little more, and this group of people, this family together again after 3 years, and this familial way of talking despite there being nothing at all to talk about, would have become utterly unbearable for him. There was, however, one urgent matter that had to be resolved today one way or another, or so he'd decided when he woke up. Now he rejoiced at having something to do, as if it were a way out. Now listen, Dunya, he began seriously and tersely. Please forgive me, of course, for what happened yesterday, but I consider it my duty to remind you again that I won't yield an inch on my main point. It's me or Lucian. I may be a scoundrel, but you shouldn't do it. One or the other. Marry Lucian, and I'll no longer consider you my sister. Roger! But this is just what you were saying yesterday, cried Pulcheria Alexandrovna bitterly. And why do you keep calling yourself a scoundrel? It's more than I can bear. Yesterday was just the same. Brother, Dunya replied firmly, and no less tersely, you're making a mistake here. I thought it through overnight and located it. You seem to think that I'm sacrificing myself to someone and for someone, but that's not the case at all. I'm marrying for my own sake, that's all. Because life is hard enough for me too. Naturally, I'll be only too glad if I also manage to be of help to my family, but that's not the main motive for my decision. She's lying, he thought to himself, biting his nails from spite. Too proud by half, can't admit she wants to do good. Oh, vile souls, Even their love is like hatred. Oh, how I hate them all. Oh my God. He's really disturbed. In short, I'm marrying Pyotr Petrovich, Donica continued, because it's the lesser of two evils. I intend to be honest in carrying out everything he expects of me, and therefore I am not deceiving him. Why did you smile like that just now? She also reddened, eyes flashing with anger. You'll carry out everything, he asked with a poisonous smirk. Up to a point. Both the manner and the form of Pyotr Petrovich's proposal showed me right away what it is that he needs. He does not lack self-esteem, of course, and perhaps he has too much of it, but I hope he esteems me too. Now why are you laughing again? And why are you blushing again? You're lying, sister. You're lying on purpose, out of sheer female stubbornness. Anything so as not to yield an inch to me. You can't respect Lucien. I've seen him. I've spoken to him, which means you're selling yourself for money, which means you're behaving despicably, and I'm glad that at least you're still capable of blushing. That's not true. I'm not lying, cried Donica, losing all composure. I'll only marry him if I'm convinced that he values and prizes me, and I'll only marry him if I am quite convinced that I'm capable of respecting him. Fortunately, I have the opportunity to make absolutely certain of this no later than today. Such a marriage is not shameful. You're wrong. And even if you were right, even if I really had decided to do something shameful, then wouldn't it be heartless of you to speak to me like this? Why demand of me a degree of heroism you may not even possess yourself? That's tyranny, coercion. The only person I run the risk of ruining is myself. And I haven't killed anyone. Oh, why would she say that? Now, why are you looking at me like that? Why have you gone so pale? Roger, what's wrong? Roger, my dearest. Good grief, you've made him faint, cried Pulcheria Alexandrovna. No, nonsense. It was nothing. Just a bit of dizziness. I certainly didn't faint. You've got a thing about fainting. Now, what was I saying? Oh, yes. How will you make certain, no later than today, that you are capable of respecting him, and that he esteems you? Is that how you put it? It was today, wasn't it, or did I mishear you? Mamma, show Roger the letter from Pyotr Petrovich, said Donica. Pulcheria Alexandrovna passed him the letter in her trembling hands. He took it with the greatest curiosity, but before unfolding it, he suddenly glanced with a sort of astonishment at Donica. How strange, he said slowly, as though suddenly struck by a new thought. Why am I getting so involved? Why all this fuss? Marry whoever you like. He seemed to be speaking to himself, but he said the words out loud and looked for some time at his sister, as if puzzled by something. He eventually unfolded the letter, still retaining a look of strange astonishment. Then he began reading it through, slowly and attentively, and reading it again. Pulcheria Alexandrovna was unusually tense. In fact, everyone was expecting something unusual. I'm amazed, he began after a few moments' reflection, passing the letter back to his mother, but addressing no one in particular. I mean, he's a man of business, a lawyer, even speaks with a certain swagger. But look, he's barely literate. Everyone stirred. This was the last thing they were expecting. But they all write like that, came Razumikin's curt comment. You mean you've read it too? Yes. We showed it to him, Roger. We talked it over together earlier, Pulcheria Alexandrovna began. It's lawyers speak, that's all, Razumikin interrupted. That's the way legal documents have always been written. Legal? Yes, that's right. Hello, Gaius. Gaius Gomar? Businesslike. Not exactly illiterate or exactly literary. Businesslike. Pyotr Petrovich doesn't conceal the fact that he was educated on a shoestring. Shoestring? Oh my God, I can't read. Pyotr Petrovich doesn't conceal the fact that he was educated on a shoestring and even boasts about having made his own way in life, remarked Avdotia Romanovna, rather offended by her brother's new tone. Well, if he's boasting, then he must have done something to boast about. I won't argue. You seem to be offended, sister. That the only thing I had to say about the whole letter was this frivolous observation, and you think I deliberately picked up on such petty things because I was annoyed and wanted to show off a bit. On the contrary, as regards style, a very pertinent point occurred to me. There's a certain expression he uses, "You'll have no one to blame but yourselves." Very prominently placed. And besides, there's the threat that he'll leave immediately if I come. This threat actually amounts to a threat of abandon you both if you fail to do as he says, and to abandon you now after he's already summoned you to Petersburg. What do you think? Can such an expression be as offensive coming from Lucian as if it had been written by, say, him? He pointed at Razumikin, or Zossimov, or any one of us. No, replied Danica, livening up a bit. I could see perfectly well that this was very artlessly put, and that perhaps he is simply no great writer. You put that very well, brother. I wasn't expecting it. It's said like a lawyer, and in legal speak, there's no other way of putting it, so it came out sounding more vulgar than perhaps he intended. But I have to disappoint you a little. In this letter, there's one other expression, an aspersion cast on me, and a fairly shabby one at that. Bye, guys. The money I gave away yesterday went to a widow, a consumptive, devastated widow, and not on the pretext of the funeral, but for the funeral itself. And I gave it not to the daughter, a girl, as he writes, of notorious conduct, whom, by the way, I had never seen before, but to the widow herself. In all this I see a great haste to sully me and set us against each other. Once again, it's said like a lawyer. The purpose is far too blatant, and the haste is artless in the extreme. He's an intelligent man, but to act intelligently, you need more than that. It all goes to show what he's like, and I doubt he esteems you all that much. I'm telling you this simply for your own edification, because I sincerely want what's best for you. Danica made no reply. She'd already taken her decision earlier, and now she was just waiting for the evening. So what have you decided, Roger? Gaius, come here, baby. What's the matter? Oh, do you miss your sister? Oh, she's got to be kept quiet and still, baby boy. No. Is it good? It's okay. I'm going to continue reading now, okay? So what have you decided, Roger? Asked Pulcheria Alexandrovna, even more worried than before by this sudden, new, business-like tone. What do you mean, decided? Well, here's Pyotr Petrovich writing that you mustn't be at ours this evening, and that he'll leave if you are. So, what have you... Will you come? That, of course, is not for me to decide, but firstly for you, if Pyotr Petrovich's demand does not offend you, and secondly for Dunya, if she too is not offended, and I'll do whatever suits you best, he added tersely. Danica has already decided, and I fully agree with her, Pulcheria Alexandrovna hastened to say. I've decided to ask you, Roger, in the most forceful terms, to be present at our meeting at all costs, said Dunya. Will you come? I will. I'm asking you, too, to be at ours at 8. She turned to Razumikin. I am inviting the gentlemen as well, Mamma. Marvellous, Danica. Well then, If you've all decided, said Pulcheria Alexandrovna, then that's how it will be. It's a relief for me, too. I don't like pretending and lying. We're better off telling the whole truth. Be angry all you like, Pyotr Petrovitch.